Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker and you're watching 2012 Wipe, a television programme in which we take a look back at the year 2012 AD. It was a year in which many things happened.
A year in which Londoners finally strung up their mayor, a bunch of pussies desecrated a Moscow church, stunning TV footage proved dogs have evolved the ability to do Jeremy Clarkson's job with less casual racism, and Mr. Andrew Lansley found himself only the first of this year's silver-haired hate figures with access to Britain's hospitals in this confrontational Sky News footage.
Yes, it was a year so laden with incident, I hardly know where to begin. January, actually, yeah, I'm going to start with January. As January dawned, our planet and all the poor sods stuck to it were exhausted. 2011 had been a show-off, full of riots, revolutions and disasters. By the end of it, we all looked and felt like we'd been repeatedly kicked in the time tits by a gigantic dog-shit clock.
What we needed was a little respite from the misery. What we got was this.
Many people still missing after a huge cruise liner sinks in the Mediterranean.
Yes, the cruise ship Costa Concordia suffered a grisly sea smash that left it looking like someone had driven the Chrysler building into a pond and made people who try to avoid flying wonder what a holiday hiding under the stairs might be like.
Now, Entertainment Tonight.
Sparkly bum-brained showbiz US news show Entertainment Tonight took the unusual decision to cover this disaster, apparently because it struck them as precisely the kind of totally fictional scenario that only ever happens in films.
It is a real-life Titanic tragedy still unfolding off the coast of Italy tonight.
The real-life Titanic.
Why did their dream vacations end up a real-life nightmare like director James Cameron's Titanic?
Yes, seemingly unaware that a real-life Titanic had already sunk 100 years ago in real life, the hard-hitting fact-finders set about unearthing other similarities between the disaster and the 90s blockbuster movie, thereby qualifying as perhaps the world's thickest vultures.
So was Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On playing on board when the Costa Concordia crashed into the rocks?
Oh, I guess we'll never know. And that's the real tragedy.
Interesting fact here, the water that the passengers of the Costa Concordia had to enter was about 57 degrees. The water for the stars of Titanic wasn't much warmer, a frigid 60 degrees.
Almost makes you wonder who suffered more.
Meanwhile, upbeat concert footage from the States as suave, sexy Pakistani bombing President Barack Obama prepared to spend a year campaigning for re-election, but first shared a mic with Mick Jagger and B.B. King.
Come on, baby, don't you want to go? Same old place, sweet home Chicago.
Just like a rock star, Obama often reduces women to a quivering, screaming mess, usually in the aftermath of one of his drone strikes. Meanwhile, as you could see from CNN's thrilling debate coverage, the Republican challengers didn't look quite so rock and roll as President Coolio. Rapidly rising in credibility was God-fearing Seinfeld face thief Rick Santorum, a man so pious even the Pope thinks he needs to pull the Bible out of his arse for a minute.
Santorum's campaign was anti-abortion, anti-gay marriage, antiquated, but mainly anti-Obama, as the news expertly depicted.
He found a way to attack Obama on everything.
President Obama once said he wants everybody in America to go to college. What a snob.
But while Santorum prayed for victory, Newt Gingrich, played by Grandma from the Tweety Pie cartoons, was all over the news, unleashing a barrage of astonishing attack ads against his main rival, square-jawed visual cliché Mitt Romney.
Massachusetts moderate Mitt Romney. He'll say anything to win. Anything. And just like John Kerry,
Laissez les bon temps rouler.
he speaks French, too.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Mitt Romney.
Speaking of the French, they had what you might call a good February and what Mitt Romney might call une bonne février, the Frenchman.
There was this really good film called The Artist, except it wasn't about an artist, but an actor who was black and white. And all his friends were black and white, and he lived in a black and white house and ate black and white food. There were these informative subtitle things, right, but they hadn't put them on properly. So the actors would go like, for ages. But the words came up afterwards, so the whole film probably took twice as long as it should have. It's got to be the worst mistake in a film since they hired that sort of stuttery guy to play the king last year.
But the dog in it, like the dog was really good as an actor, like at least as good as Keanu Reeves. It was such a good actor, it could star in a film like a romantic comedy with Jennifer Aniston, with all like love scenes in it. They wouldn't even have to pay him, you know, you could just probably give him like a tennis ball to chew on and he'd be fine with that. That's what they do with Hugh Jackman.
The artist swept the board at the Oscars, which was also notable for other brilliant performances. For instance, in this penetrating live interview on Sky, actor Nick Nolte excelled in the role of most confused individual.
Now that you're here all dressed up, are you a bit itty-bitty excited?
Well, you know, if I knew what you said, I could probably answer you. So I'll say yes, 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 and no.
True or false, you own a pet crow?
What did I do?
As March shimmied into view, the BBC tried to end the talent show wars for good with a new kind of singing contest, one where trivial things like looks or basic entertainment value simply didn't matter.
Dropped Nagasaki style into the Saturday night schedules, The Voice was genuinely revolutionary, by which I mean it had revolving chairs in it. The nation's hopeful Desperoids screeched at the backs of Estuary Foghorn Jessie J, Fluffy Roast Chicken Tom Jones, Butthead-shaped Wannabono Danny O'Donoghue, and the photo Tom Jones takes to his tanning salon, Will.i.am.
You know, Will.i.am was so ubiquitous this year, I started calling him Will You Leave.
As a sing-along blind man's bluff, it was nearly fun. Look, Tom can hear something. Is it singing? His spidey sense is tingling. Where on earth is it coming from? But the moment the chairs spun around, all novelty and tension disappeared.
If you ask me, they should have thrown in some more interesting format points, like in the brilliant Aussie version, where Seal had to masturbate to orgasm before contestants hit the high note. Omnishambles, that was a word that cropped up a lot in 2012. Not as often as the word "the" did, yes, but to be honest, I'm getting sick of your incessant pedantry.
Faced with a tanker driver strike that hadn't been announced, Francis Maud told the public to top up their jerry cans, and having Googled the word jerry can, they began panic buying, as the news gleefully recounted.
Although some hoped to avoid the panic by putting off their panic till later.
But I'm trying not to panic buy, because it takes a quality time just panic buying.
Then a row broke out over VAT on hot pastries, prompting MPs to turn the news into one big pie-eating contest, starting when humanoid David Cameron claimed to regularly ingest pleb grub.
I love a hot pasty. I think the last one I bought was from the West Cornwall Pasty Company.
Oh, is it just me, or is this anecdote really sexy?
I seem to remember I was in Leeds Station at the time.
Keep talking, Cameron. Ooh.
And the choice was whether to have one of their small ones or their large ones.
Ooh. Then, in even more powerfully erotic scenes, Ed's Miliband and Balls shambled into a Greggs to prove how much they love the taste of hot mashed pig.
Can we get 8 sausage rolls?
8? Check out the high roller. What a lifestyle. I mean, Ed Miliband lives like P. Diddy, doesn't he?
Well, we're in Redditch here to meet some people, and we popped in to buy some sausage rolls.
There was this book, 50 Shades of Grey, which was clever because it was for normal people and perverts, like how Harry Potter's for kids and adults. It was quite violent. It should have been called 7 Shades of Shit, really.
The woman who wrote it was on Newsnight, and Paul Mason listed some of his favourite bits, and that was quite a turn on, actually. Paul Mason saying all that.
Fisting, anal intercourse, genital clamps, whipping.
I rewound it and watched it again.
Fisting, anal intercourse, genital clamps, whipping.
And one more time after that.
Fisting, anal intercourse, genital clamps, whipping.
No, and actually, once more, come to think of it.
Fisting, anal intercourse, genital clamps, whipping.
I'm trying to set it as a ringtone.
This March, humankind was saved forever as an inspiring charity video got everyone online talking about Joseph Kony, a profoundly horrible African warlord with an army of child soldiers. It was a slick, heavily graphically stylised video in which a charismatic, idealistic filmmaker named Jason Russell evangelised about how the best way to stop Joseph Kony was to make him famous so politicians would be forced to pay attention and stop him. And how were they going to stop him? We'll get back to you on that one.
Retweeted by celebrities, the video went big, becoming the most viewed YouTube clip since Two Cat Bin Ladies One Cup. 70 million views in just 5 days, a comparison the news was mightily impressed by.
For comparison, it took singing sensation Susan Boyle 7 days to reach that mark, and the Old Spice guy 5 months.
If only they'd kidnapped children.
Meanwhile, critics said the film was so crudely oversimplified it may as well have claimed Joseph Kony was literally whittling children into bullets and firing them at defenceless unicorns.
He's the bad guy?
Yeah. Furthermore, some voices worried that the charity responsible, Invisible Children, seemed to be spending lots of the money it raised making glitzy videos that raised awareness of what exactly?
These glossy videos were all over the internet, videos that posed questions. Questions like, why did they make this slick High School Musical number that doesn't really have much to do with Uganda, but apparently lots to do with their dance fantasies?
We are here to change the world.
And what the leaping great joinkers was the deal with the odd-sounding Fourth Estate spin-off youth camp event they'd organised, promoted via an unsettling, some might say creepy set of videos, apparently promising some kind of global revolution.
We will come together to map out a new revolution. You will say it all started at the Fourth Estate, because it will.
Sadly, before these questions could be answered, Invisible Children co-founder Jason Russell starred in a more upsetting follow-up viral video that was analysed in depressing detail by gossip mongers.
Jason hit the streets of San Diego naked, cursing, smacking the pavement, and screaming about the devil.
And tragically for Joseph Kony, he was soon knocked off the top of the viral pop charts, and there's no chance of him getting back up there, at least until he teaches his child army how to dance Gangnam Style.
Technology, and as Google Chrome decides to promote itself with the unsettling tale of a stalky ex-boyfriend who's compiled an exhaustive dossier on his estranged girlfriend in a desperate bid to impress her, Nokia unveil a snazzy smartphone apparently equipped with incredible twat-dazzling technology.
Why do you love your Lumia?
My Lumia improves my life.
One of the greatest features is the People Hub. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter.
WhatsApp, messaging.
I can have a tile for every part of my life.
Yeah, I've got a tile for every part of my bathroom. You don't hear me crowing about it.
You can completely make it your own.
It is your own.
It's fast.
Literally just flip through apps.
Send a tweet really, really quickly.
Hear back from Lord McAlpine even quicker.
Can I take a photo? Smile. Amazing.
I'll say.
Diets! And Mel B's here with some convincing and moving personal testimony.
Now, I know how hard it is to get started, but this is what I did. Hi, I'm Mel B, and help, I need to lose 15 kilos.
What, you didn't use a phone?
I feel lighter. Like when I walk now, it's not so bombarder, it's more ding, doink, doink, doink.
Oh, you want to get that looked at?
Losing weight does not have to be scary. Come join me, call Jenny now.
No.
Coffee, and a high street coffee chain attempts to hammer this surreal sing-along trauma into potential customers' minds like a tent peg into a watermelon full of coffee beans.
Tonight, I want to give it all to you.
You know, I was so weirded out by this, I thought I'd sue them for emotional distress, so I contacted my barista. My barista. Barista. Oh, f*** off. This reminds me of? It reminds me of that horrible scene in the grisly Roman epic Caligula where they bury Christians up to their necks in the stadium and then send in this nightmarish head-chopping machine.